Hey, hi, welcome back to Digi.in. My name is Vignesh, and let's take a look at Nokia smartphones. Now, for a lot of us, the new year began 5 months ago. However, for Nokia, the new year is just beginning because it's just brought out its first smartphone for 2019, and that's the Nokia 4.2. Now, I'll tell you what this phone has got inside. It's got a Snapdragon 400 series chipset, it's got up to 3 GB of RAM and up to 32 GB of internal storage. Let's see how it did in our review. Alright, then let's start with the build-in design. In terms of shape and size alone, the Nokia 4.2 is very much like an iPhone in that it has the same sort of medium-sized rounded rectangle design. This gives the phone dollops of physical charisma and makes it instantly friendly for one-handed smartphone users. According to Nokia, the front face and rear panel use the same curved 2.5 glass layer. While this gives the phone a touch of class, it also makes it susceptible to fingerprints and smudges. Our review unit was covered in fingerprints within hours of its unboxing. Despite bearing glass panels, the Nokia 4.2 doesn't feel all that slippery in the hand. In comparison, the older Nokia 5.1 Plus, which has a similar glass design on the front and back, threatens to slip from the palms of its holder frequently. The Nokia 4.2 is 8.4 mm thick and 161 grams in weight, which is admittedly on the bulkier side, but the phone doesn't feel particularly too heavy in the hand or pocket. The top side of the Nokia 4.2 houses the 3.5 mm audio jack and the secondary microphone. The bottom side is home to the primary microphone, the micro USB port, and a single grill loudspeaker. The right side houses the power key and volume rocker. The power key, though well placed along the side, shakes a bit when you run your finger over it. It also houses what Nokia likes to call a breathing notification light, which pulsates brightly in white every time there's a new notification. While the light can be enabled and disabled, its color can't be changed. The rear panel houses a dual camera setup with a single LED flash which sits almost flush with the phone's body. Below it is a fingerprint scanner which works swiftly for authenticating fingerprints. The only trouble is that it's hard to find the fingerprint scanner in a hurry with just your finger. Interestingly, the left side has more than just the expected SIM card / micro SD card tray. It gets a dedicated Google Assistant key. Pressing it once fires the popular virtual assistant up in Ask mode, which lets you give Google voice commands. Pressing it twice in succession takes you to the Google Assistant feed. Sadly, unlike the Bixby key on the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphones, the Google Assistant key on the Nokia 4.2 can't be reprogrammed to launch any other app. Alright then, let's move on to the display. The Nokia 4.2 enjoys a 5.71-inch amorphous silicon TFT LCD screen in 19:9 aspect ratio with a tiny rounded selfie notch for the front camera. Though the resolution might seem a little bit on the lower side, content on the Nokia 4.2's display does not look the least bit pixelated even when you look closely. However, the light from the LCD's backlight bleeds through just a bit around the edges, but not distractingly so. At full screen brightness, colors appear fairly rich on the Nokia 4.2's display without appearing overly saturated at any point. The software has no option to set the color mode or temperature, but does have the option to turn the blue light filter on. Unlike the wide notch on the older Nokia 5.1 Plus, the tiny selfie notch at the top of the Nokia 4.2's display isn't invasive or overly distracting. There are occasions on which you'd wish it weren't there at all, like full screen video playback and gameplay, but it's not really all that bothersome. Audio performance is where the Nokia 4.2 disappoints. The phone has a single side-firing speaker on the bottom side of the body. Songs like The Weeknd's Starboy and Shamu's Let the Music Play sound shrill and jar on the ears when played at full volume. Low frequencies are barely heard, much less felt, which is expected from a tiny speaker driver like the one on the Nokia 4.2. On the other hand, sound through the Nokia 4.2's earpiece is loud and clear for calls even in noisy environments. Let's move on to performance. While the older Nokia 5.1 Plus ships with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 636 chipset, the new Nokia 4.2 is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 439 chipset. It comes in two RAM plus storage variants, 2GB RAM plus 16GB storage and 3GB RAM plus 32GB of storage. The review unit came with 3GB RAM and 32GB storage. Luckily, storage can be expanded all the way up to 400GB using a microSD card. Everyday performance of the Nokia 4.2 is decent but nowhere close to bad. I say this because the phone doesn't show any major signs of lagging while launching or switching between apps and games, but it tends to skip a few frames while drawing and animating certain elements. For example, Chrome itself may not take time to load while launching, but clicking on the tab overview button will result in a few visible stutters in animation. Some elements in the notification bar too show jumps and skips in animation when swiped away. The phone is otherwise fit for everyday tasks like light browsing, video playback, calling, messaging, and light gaming. With the Gamebench gaming metrics tool running in the background and drawing over other apps, the review unit ran Asphalt 8 at a median frame rate of 30 frames per second. On the other hand, it ran PUBG Mobile on forced low graphics settings at a median frame rate of 26 frames per second. Luckily, there was no visible sign of any lagging or stuttering while playing both games. Let's take a look at the software then. The software here is probably what I personally like the most about the phone. Like its brethren, the Nokia 4.2 comes with the promise of an Android One experience, that it gets a near stock version of Android and regular software updates for up to 2 years. The phone boots up with the latest version of Android running on it and has no third-party bloatware installed. Android Pie's gesture navigation features is enabled by default and there is no way to go back to the 3-button system from previous versions. In summary, the Nokia 4.2 enjoys a pure version of Android 9, including features the Big Pie is known for, like native notch support and digital well-being. Let's see how it does in the camera department. Almost every smartphone north of the 10,000 rupee mark gets 2 cameras on the back, and the Nokia 4.2 is no different. The phone comes with a 13 megapixel primary sensor with face detection autofocus. It also comes with a 2 megapixel depth sensor for portrait shots through what Nokia likes to call live bokeh mode. The two sensors are accompanied by a single LED flash. On the front, there's only a single camera and it's an 8 megapixel sensor. Photos taken in daylight through the primary rear camera are moderately bright and colorful but contain an unexpected tinge of light yellow. Photos taken indoors appear a bit noisy and even a bit blurry no matter how steadily you hold the phone. The live bokeh feature manages to find the borders around a subject in the foreground 4 times out of 6, but even then there are tiny parts in which the subject's foreground are blurred out. Photos shot in low light are noticeably noisy and distorted. It's really hard to get a steady shot at night with this phone. You're better off investing in a digital camera if photography is really important to you. The default camera app is easy to use but not quick to react. The digital viewfinder freezes for nearly a whole second when a shot is taken or a mode is changed. The lag worsens while shooting in low light. There's also a noticeable lag in the UI between almost every single shot, which can tire the user out after a while. The Pro mode, which lets you adjust exposure and shutter speed, does not show a live preview before taking the shot. Rendering live bokeh shots and previewing regular shots taken through auto mode also take over a good second or two to happen. This lag in UI and animation can easily be chalked up to the Snapdragon's lack of muscle power and weak GPU. Let's move on to the battery then. On our standard battery benchmark test, the review unit with its 3000 mAh non-removable lithium-ion battery scored 8 hours 50 minutes. In comparison, the older Nokia 5.1 Plus scored 7 hours 52 minutes on the same test. In everyday use test scenarios, the review unit lasted somewhere between 1 and 1.5 days on a single charge. In these scenarios, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth were left enabled and the screen was set to 70% brightness. Some of the tasks thrown at it were app installs, simultaneous web downloads, YouTube video playback, photography, and gaming. Charging from around 9% to a full 100 took a little over 1.5 hours with the bundle charger. In summary, battery performance on the Nokia 4.2 is good, but nothing spectacular. Expect to get a day's worth of battery life from this mid-ranger if you're a power user of your smartphone. As you can probably tell, the Nokia 4.2 comes with its own share of pluses and minuses. That's it then for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. We do not have the exact price of this phone at the time of recording this video, but when it goes live, you will see it down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
For the latest technology updates, subscribe to Digit.in and don't forget to hit the bell icon.